Hi guys, in the last video I talked about a repair for a common fault with the full motion video cartridge for the Commodore Amiga CD32, but I sneakily repaired it behind your back and just talked about it. But look what's happened. Conveniently, it's broken again. When I power it up, if you look closely at the power LED, it does light dimly, but I'm already pretty sure that it's short-circuited inside the FMV module with a short-circuited chip ceramic capacitor. Having removed the full motion video cartridge and the SX1, the unit powers on and works just fine, so that eliminates any problem with the CD32 itself. But I already know full well what the problem is. I've already had to replace two chip ceramic capacitors in this one module, and here's the strip of capacitors I'll be using for the repair. This is an example cross-section of a multi-layer ceramic capacitor, which I'm not sure these are, but their manufacture can be very convoluted. They fall into the category of plate capacitors, but these are so fine it wouldn't take much to short circuit once the ceramic encapsulation is fractured. This nut, bolt and nylon washer was a feeble attempt at heat sinking the 7805. You can't do much better, there's not a lot of clearance in the enclosure to do a better job. If you admire the workmanship with my prototypes, you're about to be disappointed. The electrolytics here are okay, even though I will have to replace them. I normally buy really good Nippon Chemicon capacitors, but they are really low profile in this enclosure. None of them would fit, so I had to use cheapies. The ceramics here, though, are shocking. I need to replace them, and I knew from the start that I'd have to. They're temporary because I didn't always have the original schematic for the FMV cartridge as I do now. Now I can just choose a bypass capacitor and test to see if the board is close to short circuit on the 5V rail. Now that we know we've got a shorted component on the board and suspect it's a capacitor, we'll be able to locate which one by just measuring the lowest DC resistance across a capacitor, remembering that all the traces across the board have their own resistance, so we should be able to measure accurately enough to determine which capacitor is short without taking any components off the board. Of course, if we were looking for a component that was open circuit, or measuring resistance, or measuring capacitance, it would be another story. That's why this is a very convenient and easy fix. And it's already very obvious we've found the suspect. This one gets down to 0.2 ohms, so yep, that's the short. In the following scenes under the magnifier itself will change the position of the capacitor on the screen, so just keep in mind that it's right next to a ferrite choke. As I zoom in here, you'll see on the bottom left my attempt at a heatsink for the 7805 regulator. And if you keep your eye on that capacitor again, it's to the right of the choke. I'm going to get real close and you should be able to see a fracture with moisture ingress. So it already looks rather suspect, although yeah, I wouldn't have spotted it. I'll try harder for the camera now to make something neat, but I'm just wetting either side of the capacitor first to make it easy to take off with an iron. And it's really the whole reason why the three ceramics that I've replaced are messy in the first place. I've got to travel to use a proper rework station, which I will do. I'll buy all new capacitors for both FMV cartridges. Yeah, cleverly concealed with my hand there, and you can see the ceramic is fractured. And because I know this board is going to be reworked again, what I'm aiming to do here is mount the ceramic slightly elevated off the PCB to make it easier to remove. Same as I did with the others, except I'm trying a little harder because you're watching. I'll even clean it up a little bit for you, and we'll get a close-up look underneath. You should be able to see underneath the capacitor, which makes it easy to remove with an iron before I took it somewhere to rework it properly. I'm using these cartridges in the CD32 simultaneously with an SX1 expansion, and if you've used one of them before, you'll know the pain of plugging the SX1 into the CD32, so I've done that off camera. So it powers up fine. The SX1 expansion itself has an option to delay the boot, which is what's happening here. If the FMV was plugged in, it would have tried to read the CD by now, but that's a little bit delayed. You can see there it's about to try, and there we go. What this console isn't very good at is reading CDs, or CDRs in particular, so I've skipped past that part. But I am making it authentic because this was the first instance of trying it out. If this was an original press CD, it would have started up by now, but it's mucking around looking for the track on the CDR, and there we have it, Lady Gaga again. And this is all I was doing, letting a VCD play music videos, and all of a sudden it stopped. Capacitor goes short circuit, shorts the whole power supply of the CD32, so it can't run either. This time I've plugged my stereo in, which I forgot to do in the first place, and everything's back to the way it was in the part 2 video. So next is to buy some expensive capacitors of the right size and rework both boards. See yous next time.